All right, folks, we're back. Everyone's cheering for Snoot in chat. Yeah, that's really cool to see. Like, I actually really like when we get some chat cheers and stuff going. But you can hear the countdown. Getting into it. It's the other semifinals. It's Korean versus European. We got aLive versus Nerchio.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a sick match. This one, we're gonna be starting out on Echo LE, so should be an interesting map. Almost always goes to the macro stage, and then once players take their fourth bases, the whole map opens up with like so many counter attack paths. Super excited to see this set take off. Of course, it is going to be a best of 3. It is only the finals that's a best of 5, right?
Correct.
Awesome.
Oh, what does aLive's name show up on the overlay for you right now?
Chihyun, yeah. So this is the bug where it's kind of showing the wrong name at the moment. And the most recent patch kind of messed up a lot of things. It shows like your BattleNet name rather than your account name. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is why when we had Solar playing, it was like LLLLLLL. I'm gonna have to try and think of something awesome to put down there because unfortunately it's so big. I don't know if I can fit aLive's name on. We'll worry about that in a moment, guys. Let's get into the game, shall we? Spawning here in the top left side, we got the home field player, the Blue Zerg from Europe. It's Nerchio.
And his opponent, our Korean Terran, a hero from ages past who's had a great resurgence in 2016. It is aLive.
All right, I'm gonna Google aLive and see what the first image result is. Oh, it's actually some really cool text, actually.
All right, nice. I feel like there's some photos out there with him with like a really sad look on his face. I don't know if I'm imagining that.
No, I've got a great idea. Hang on. I'm going to find a PNG for this. Oh, I wonder if this will get me like copyright trouble, actually. I was going to put... it's like a image of Frankenstein on there, you know, because it's a lie!
Neck level dad jokes. You are so ready, by the way, to be a dad. Like, you need to have like seven kids already, just so you can make them uncomfortable constantly. I love your humor, Rifkin.
You're killing me here, Pig. All right, I'm gonna get this up on the overlay, but so there's certainly a couple things to be said about aLive. You know, he's absolutely looking great in the Korean leagues, but a lot of the times, like he's playing here on Europe, for example. And, oh, whoops! What did I just break there? Oh no! I'm ruining everything. Don't look, guys.
All right, so I'm just going to talk about the game while Rifkin ruins everything. This is our standard rapport. So it is going to be a 2-1-1 coming out for Chihyun, the very fast double medevac stim marine drop. He's going to be opening up just with the Reaper for now to have a poke around. Nerchio, meanwhile, going for a hatchery first.
Yeah. Sorry. By the way, quick thing again, the blue box, it's the bug with the skins. I guess if either of us remembers, we can try and asking them to disable their skins, but I'm not too worried by it, guys. It affects so few units in the game. It's not a big deal.
Just like Zerglings and Overlords or something like that. So it's not a big deal.
Oh. Well, actually, a big deal comes in. Mana just hosted the stream, so says, hey, just finished the stream, so I can host for a few viewers. Have a good day. Dude, thank you so much, and hello to Mana's viewers. I hope you guys enjoyed his series. Man, he played really well in that last game. But as mentioning before I start breaking everything, aLive looks really good in Korea, and he doesn't look so bad coming to North America, and he's actually won a Corsair Cup or two. Sorry, not North America, Europe. But the problem still persists. He's playing off-server. Latency is always going to be an issue. Even if you use a VPN, you will never perfectly play to like your not home server. So, Nerchio is already a fantastic player altogether. This is a real tough situation for aLive.
I gotta say though, on the plus side, Nerchio is more of a Roach Ravager guy rather than a just Ling Bane guy, and I think that helps because if you're trying to split Marines versus Banelings with 250, 300 ping, things can get pretty nasty pretty quickly. So I think this is going to be a lot easier for aLive to actually play, assuming Nerchio does stick to his roots. Go for that Roach Ravager. Interestingly, Nerchio has actually opened up with Overlord speed this game, something which we're not used to seeing from Nerchio, but he has been starting to mix that in more and more recently, just to check that there's nothing sneaky going on from his opponents.
Well, I think the best Zerg players are really the ones who go for the Overlord speed. I enjoy it quite a bit because I think scouting is so important. You got players who are really intelligent like Nerchio. They don't need to see much to know everything.
Exactly. He did scout everything though, so he knows what's going on. He's going double Evo. No Roach Warren yet. Nerchio, is he going to play Ling Bane? I think he might. And I would actually love to see that for the exact reason that I said.
Well, I think it'd be very important to note that Nerchio is a player who's good at exploiting weakness, which is part of why he became such a good player. It wasn't that Nerchio would play one particular way. You know, the same way we watch every Protoss player right now do one build and only one build. Nerchio's had a huge variety of them, and he's always willing to shake them up, specifically to deal with people, certain people. So, if he recognizes that, yeah, aLive's playing off server, regardless of what he's playing, Banelings might be the better option, he would absolutely be the guy I'd expect to take advantage of it. So I love that this is where he's going. The +1 melee, the +1 carapace starts up. We do have aLive pushing out, though, with that double medevac. Oh, so classic Terran drop.
And aLive is going for a 2-base all-in behind this. He's dropped his 3rd and 4th gases, 3 more barracks, and he's about to start tank production. So he really just wants to distract Nerchio, keep him busy, find a little bit of damage here, but most importantly, he wants to keep the creep back. And then he'll probably be pushing through the left path, through the destructible rocks, onto that 3rd base, looking to abuse all of the ledges on this map, and use that as his advantage against Nerchio. And Nerchio, who I would normally have absolute faith in holding that with Ravages, maybe might struggle a little bit against it with just Ling Bane. We're going to have to see how it goes. It'll be a very powerful push with the new Siege tank.
Yeah, Siege tanks are awesome, and I like them for a lot of different reasons, but I think when you're playing against the style, especially if you're playing cross-server, like, sometimes just RNGing through Widow Mines might be better.
Nerchio's Overlord speed really helping him out so far. He's already seen this very fast extra barracks. He sees the 3rd and 4th gas, and he sees no sign of a 3rd command center.
If you click on the Overlord, I guess it bugs out on the portrait too.
Apparently. Alright.
It's a really big box of supply, guys, is what it is. Meanwhile, the Lings and Banes and Queens do push off those medevacs. Not really a lot done. Looks like maybe a Queen died. Yeah, 1 Queen went down, a couple Lings.
Nerchio is still droning. Nerchio, you went Overlord speed. You need to react to what you're seeing right now. You've seen almost everything in the base, but he's not making the read that this is an all-in. He's going up to over 70 workers right now. This is going to be super hard to defend this push. There's going to be a 3 siege tank push with a lot of bio. aLive is just stopping at +1 attack. Not going to go for the +1 armor just yet. And he's definitely going to hit and aim to finish the game before Nerchio gets 2-2. Nerchio here is just massing units right now, so I think maybe he's caught on to what's going on. But, you know, this is going to be a really tight hold. He's got to get his creep spread out a little bit further.
I love chat asking, why is Frankenstein at the bottom? Because it's aLive! And aLive is going to have to keep getting pushed back. This sucks, because if you're getting pushed back on creep, at least you've been making the sort of momentum push forward, you've been taking that creep timbers, you name it. But aLive's getting pushed back off of creep, something that rarely should happen to Terran. But here's that big push. Tanks included, Marauders with this. This is an army that's going to have no problem dealing with the Banelings. But can it deal with the sheer numbers? Nerchio's army supply isn't insane, but his unit count certainly is.
Oh, yeah. Right now, though, there is a 15 army supply lead here for aLive. But his tanks aren't siege. Nerchio dives on top of it. There's not that many Marines. It's mostly, oh.
He does take out the Banelings.
I said there's not that many Marines, and then 30 Marines came up from behind and just wrecked that surround of Zerglings.
Behind!
Oh my god.
I mean, the thing is, there's still more Lings coming up, but Lings aren't what Nerchio needs. It's Banelings, and of course, with the tanks set up here on the low ground, the Queens all going down, the Banelings don't even have speed. Drones getting pulled into the action. This game might still be a little too far gone. The Marines on the high ground, unstoppable. This squad of units on the bottom of the ground, unkillable. He taps out, and looks like aLive will take game number 1.
You know, we talked about it before. Nerchio, he doesn't normally go Overlord speed. He normally plays Ravages. This time around, he played Ling Bane. He went Overlord speed, so he played a bit different. And I like these choices. You know, you're likely to face an all-in, get the extra scouting, but he just didn't seem to make that read that there was a 3rd command center lacking. Drone to over 70 workers versus 45 SCV 2-base aLive. Just a bit too greedy. And even then, I mean, maybe if he bought time for more units to come out, flanked, tried to cut off reinforcements, maybe he could have made it happen, but he just jumped on top of that army, and what looked like a good opportunistic engagement very quickly turned out to be a horrible engagement. So a bit of a hard loss there for Nerchio in game number 1.
Yeah, he actually messages me right now with Overgrowth for the next map. So it is, of course, loser's pick for those unfamiliar with the format. Let's get everyone in here. Look at Pig real IDing in like a pro.
Oh, I know. I'm not a dead weight for once. Got to pull my own weight once in a while.
Oh wait, that's Keen. Oops. Awkward. Wait, which
Oh
one's
my
the left?
god.
Oh, Chihun. That's
Do
right.
all Korean Terrans look the same to you? You are so racist. You think, oh, all Terrans are the same. They all have the stupid marine visors, guns, and their SCVs are all smoking pot out back when they're meant to be mining minerals. Jesus, Rifkin. Racist.
Isn't it Frankenstein's monster Rifkin? Oh, if you get technical with me. I've never banned somebody for being technical before, but this...
Yeah, it's like if you were involved in like pop culture though, everyone referred to him as Frankenstein, like the monster.
Well, the logic still applies though, because
in the
regardless
last
of what
100
that thing is in the bottom of the screen, it's alive! That's what we're going
Either way, exactly.
All right, your host, referee yourself, they're both ready, so we can go into game number 2. Keep in mind, the winner of this goes and faces off against Snoop, but Mana himself, although he lost, as well as the loser of this series, they get a couple of bucks for their trouble, which is kind of nice. $10 for 3rd and 4th place. That's a lunch right there, is what that is.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Of course, the players are ready, so we'll be starting up that game.
Yeah, you gotta.
Sorry, a little bit slow on that.
Don't forget to referee yourself. There you go. Oh.
Just, you know, you praised me for joining the lobby on my own.
I know.
This is like, my job is done. I just like throw my hands in the air. I'm just like, it's over. Like, I've done my job, guys. I'm just going to read Twitch chat rather than paying attention to what I should be doing.
I know, we got like 90%. Hey, well, welcome to the casting career of Rifkin on BaseTradeTV, right? All right, because I don't want to move Frankenstein to mess up the overlay again like I did before. We're going to leave a live's name on the bottom, even though he did spawn elsewhere. So, spawning here on the bottom left side of the map, not at all corresponding with the way the bottom of the overlay looks. It's going to be the Red Zerg player, Nerchio.
And his opponent up here in the top right-hand side, our blue Terran player, he is aLive.
By the way, I would like to point out, because this is being brought up in chat, Nerchio almost never GGs, just so everyone's aware. It has nothing to do with like being pissed off or raging that he lost the game. Like, Nerchio just rarely GGs if ever. And it has nothing to do with him being rude. It's just him.
Yeah. It's, you know, it's not the biggest thing. Like, people are like, oh, this guy's so BM, he didn't GG, and it's like, really is not saying something like that rude.
Well,
like, it's like a little bit breaking custom, so it is a little bit, oh, okay, normally that means someone's angry, but if someone just never does it, you're like, oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, there used to be like people out there, like Todd would never GG, but he would always actually whisper people after the game to GG. Like, he would never just say it in game. Yeah. So I don't know, everyone has a different take on it. What's weird though is the GG culture, I guess, or the StarCraft 2 etiquette, however you want to phrase that, has not translated well into other games. Like, I remember when I first started playing Overwatch, we're talking like beta days, I would GG after every game, whether I won or whether I lost, and people thought I was being so rude. And I actually got reported for it one time, and I'm just like, what the hell? This is like, I'm just used to do this with StarCraft all the time. Win or lose, you GG, right? Like, so it really is different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, man. Playing in FPS communities, you get some interesting culture, to say the least. Counter-Strike, a very special place is probably the best word to describe it.
Well, yeah, especially, have you seen that streamer, the one of many or whatever his name is, the guy who streams as a dog?
I think I've seen screenshots. I don't think I've actually watched his stream.
You need to. It's hilarious. That guy, he doesn't play Counter-Strike. He plays something in the background while he's playing Twitch chat is what he's doing. He's hilarious.
Nice.
But okay,
right,
so a couple Lings gonna sneak around the top side. Looks like aLive has left his Reaper close enough at home.
Ravager Rush. Nerchio gonna be pulling out one of the new builds. So we actually asked Nerchio about this during his show when he came on the other week, and he was saying the reason this is so powerful now and it's good again is because tank evacs are gone, right? So before, if your opponent gets a tank evac, the problem, I mean, a tank still shuts this down, kind of, but it takes a little bit longer because it can't just maneuver around as freely. But the big problem before is if you opened up roaches, you sacrifice extra queens, you sacrifice creep spread. And then the tank evac would just come across the map and do like unlimited counterattack damage to you. But now that there's no tank evacs, this actually can drag out the aggression so much better, and you can be so much greedier behind it. So Nerchio here, just with 4 roaches, going to make those almost all into Ravagers. Maybe we'll make the 4th one when he has the gas for it. And, you know, aLive's only just spotted this. He's pulling on back. He's got, only 1 Marine building out of that barracks at a time.
So yeah, you're right. Like a lot of the reasons why I guess this could be good again is the reason like you don't have mobility against it. And this is where I worry. Even with things like the bunker, even if it was finished, it's still going to be something easily picked off.
Yeah, this Overlord coming in to provide high ground vision, and you know behind this it is drones and drones.
Oh, he gets really ballsy going down through this. He almost loses that Ravager. Oh my God. Nerchio getting by with 7 health. Reaper wants to finish it off. 2 health remains. Snipes it off. Now he's going to just camp on top of the factory. And that Siege Tank's not even going to get a chance to finish.
Oh, man. That Ravager.
Well,
he's going to die on the way up.
Is it, though? Okay.
Yes. Just barely. Good choice to retreat here from Nerchio. Definitely doesn't want to stay here too long and lose all of those units. Is going for a 3rd base back at home. He's done a decent amount of damage. Ooh, the tank's coming forward, though. He's going to try to punish this. Bam! Another Ravager does go down. Nerchio is going to have to back on out of there. Good defense by aLive to, you know, minimize the damage. Interestingly, aLive was going for a 1-1-1 opening. So he was going for... I'm not exactly sure which version of it, but basically he doesn't have stim. He doesn't have any sort of counter crazy marine pressure. He's just going to have to play this out a little bit slower, and it looks like, interestingly, going to go into 3 barracks here on 2 base. I wonder if he's planning to do another tank push.
Well, the Liberator is going to shake things up a bit, but the problem is because those Ravagers, you know, they deal with the tanks, but they also deal with Liberators.
Yeah. Of course, right now, Nerchio very low on units. I believe those are Overlords in production. He's only now adding more Roaches, yeah. His Zerglings do spot this Siege Tank. I think he realizes now, oh crap, my 3rd's actually in danger. Gonna have to rely on Queens and these couple of Roaches and Ravagers popping out to defend this. That Viking, about to go up to 3 kills, doing a really nice job of clearing up that map vision. And yeah, this is a really good bit of pressure here out of aLive. That Siege Tank in the back is going to make it very hard for Nerchio to defend this hatchery.
Of course, those are 20 links coming out, guys. Getting another little blue blocks, making it a bit difficult to see what's going on. Me and Pig both forgot to ask everyone to disable their skins.
Try to remember for the next game. Looks like here aLive is going to lose that Siege Tank, but he's forced a lot of units out of Nerchio, so he kind of knew he was always going to lose the Siege Tank with this push. The Viking in the main base. Cute.
Oh, did it land? Oh, I didn't realize it was going to try and kill everything.
I don't know if it got anything. It might have got 1 drone. Meanwhile, Nerchio just going to attack this wall. As the Marines drop out, though, he will need to... Oh, going to get some SCVs now that the Ravagers are there.
Last second pullback, though, out of aLive.
Oh, Liberator in the main. Nerchio not watching the Queen goes down. Oh,
that's a problem.
Because that Queen's down, this becomes way harder for him to deal with. He's doing a fantastic amount of damage to aLive on that side of the map, thankfully.
Oh, Mules got pulled to repair? That's when you know it's bad.
Yeah, panicking a little bit with the multitasking here, but aLive is going to reposition that Liberator. Going to grab a few more worker kills here. Nerchio actually reacting. He's focusing so much on the front that he's a little bit slow on the defense. And finally is going to clean up this push from the Liberator.
He lost a lot of income through that, though. I mean, we look at the income graph real quick. It was Nerchio's game up until that Liberator sauntered on in. But that being said, disrupting a lot of the... You know, not just income of aLive, because, well, aLive didn't have a Liberator sitting above his main. You know, he had to keep pulling SCVs to repair the depots, which did eventually go down. So 10 workers lost is not a great thing. Tearing on 33 SCVs, no 3rd command center. I mean, if this wasn't planned to be an all-in, it's probably going to be now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is planned to be an all-in. So he's got 2 tanks. He's about... I think it's going to be a 3-tank push again. He is... Okay, I was about to say he's forgot combat shields, but he's starting that up now. So once again, he's going to have a very strong push. He should really mix a couple Marauders in here. I think that was a big part of his success in the last game. At the moment, it's pure Marine tank. And while that is harder hitting, it does have a lot less ability to absorb damage. But already nice drop in the top of Nerchio's main.
Oh,
Overlords.
As if enough Overlords didn't die already in this game. That brings the grand total up to... I hope that's the 6. I actually can't see on the unit's last tab. I'm going to assume it's the 6 Overlords and not 19 Overlords.
Yeah,
this is a fantastic bug. God damn it.
Right now, Nerchio still isn't 100% sure that this is a big 2-base attack coming. He is going to go ahead in the upgrade soon with 1-1 close to finishing and his +2 melee on the way. Baneling speed is actually starting well ahead of the push this time around. But Nerchio needs to not drone right now. He needs to make units. If he makes drones, I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Yeah,
so there we go, 24 Zerglings. All right, that's the sort of stuff he needs. And he needs to just not go gun-ho and jump on the siege tanks this time, unless he's got a proper flanker engagement. So I think Nerchio really playing this safe right now. Just needs to stay on top of his game, and he's got a good chance of hanging on.
Yeah, he's putting those creep teamers back down as well, so he doesn't lose the territory when she can take these engagements. I mean, Banling speed is still a considerable way out, but every bit of creep spread matters. I'm worried though, because for aLive, at first, like at a glance, this looks great, but I mean, you got to consider Nerchio's actually got better upgrades. He's gonna have technically better production through Defender's Advantage. If aLive gets some really great siege tank hits and snowballs initially, this could be fantastic. But with armor upgrades, the Lings can't get one shot anymore.
Nerchio diving on top of these Marines.
Oh,
They're a little bit spread out.
This is so good.
The coming in a huge clump.
Oh, well, maybe not so good.
Fire. Oh, wow. Great micro from aLive, but his entire right flank crumbled. So here we go. Nerchio going to pull back, more Banelings and buy time. This is what he was lacking last time.
Speed's finishing in 3 seconds too. He's going to have 10 health on the Banelings. He's going to have a little bit of extra speed to get on top of the engagement. The tanks have been removed. This last one going to go down. Now it's just Marines surrounded, and aLive gets completely defeated on the front lines.
Very nice play there by Nerchio. Even though he lost all that mining beforehand, definitely the huge counterattack he did with the Ravagers and Zerglings seemed to pay off.
Oh, GG.
And it looks like Nerchio just dictating the pace from the start with that Ravager pressure. Equalizes 1-2-1.
Yeah, this creates a pretty tense situation to see who goes through to those finals, of course. But we're going to play a commercial break while we find out what game number 3 is going to be. So stick around, folks, and we'll see you soon. All right, folks, we're back. Thank you for watching that commercial break. We are going to get into the final game of this series, a best of 3, game number 3, to determine who goes through to fight Snoot in the finals. I gotta give some big love and shouts to 7th, just subbed to the channel. What up, girl? How you doing? Anti-Pig Zombie, also newly subscribed during that last game. Sorry we missed the shout out. Say that very Canadianly. And then last but not least, DBTO for the 11 months. Glad to have you on board for another, my friend. It looks like we are ready to go. So, ladies and gentlemen, spawning here in the top side of the map, having just tied things up 1-1. It's going to be the blue Zerg player, Nerchio.
And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom side of the map, our red Terran player, it is aLive.
Real quick, I know that there's this, I guess something has happened in the world recently with Germany. Some people are bringing this up in chat. Guys, we're not shutting it down because we don't want people to be informed, but this is a StarCraft chat for StarCraft things. I acknowledge that there's probably some terrible stuff that went down, but please take that to whispers or discuss that with your friends. This is not the place for it. That being said, though, I would like to just give a big thank you to the generosity to folks so far today. Considerably awesome amount of donations coming in. I'm very proud and happy to be splitting with Pig. Normally I was telling Pig, like, normally on the channel it's not this great. Sometimes we get like maybe $5 if we're lucky, but $103-ish.
Wow. Thank you so much, guys. We do really appreciate the support. And yeah, it's awesome as well, the subs and everything like that, and everyone who's been supporting Base Trade for a long time. You're the one channel that I don't remove my sub from. Most people I kind of remove it, and then I resub maybe a few months later if I'm continuing to watch a lot of their content. But with Base Trade, it's like one of those things where I've seen like Snoot I think he subbed for like over like a couple of years or something to Base Trade. Like it's one of the few channels that a lot of the pros sub to, because there's constant high-quality StarCraft content. There's constant replay packs that you guys are sending out for pros to study, for players to study. So it really is just, the kind of hallmark of the community here on Base Trade. So thanks for keeping it up, Graham.
Well, Pig, that sounds a little bit out of context, and I hope nobody clips it that way. Thank you for the kindness. Yeah, replay packs are the one thing we try and do. But it's funny because we have literally over 1,000 subscribers, and each replay pack is downloaded by maybe 14 to 15 people. So it's kind of like, that it's like 10 of those are the pro players, and the 4 or 5 are just the people who really like replays or collect them, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll keep doing them, even if it's just a couple of folks who like them. Now, as this Reaper dances around, it's not going to get a lot accomplished. It will see this awkward base, though. I think for aLive, he really wanted to get to the natural to see whether this was like a really greedy fast third, but having seen the pool, if he saw the gas, I would say he knew more than enough, but he didn't see the gas. So this is a lot of guesswork he has to do, and a bit of gambling he does with Nerchio.
Yeah, right now, I mean, I'm very curious. So right now, aLive is like, okay, you're doing a normal build, but I'm really thinking, what is his plan? He's going for a 2-1-1. So far, all we've seen out of aLive, though, is tank pushes. 2 base, all in tank pushes. Like, you know, he doesn't even have a third command center behind it. It really is completely all in. This time around, though, it's Varney. It's a long rush distance. It's wide open. There's no real ledges to abuse with your siege tanks. So I can't imagine that aLive is going to go for that same strategy. I still think he would want to kind of limit the length of the game. You don't really want to just play a straight up macro game on, you know, your high latency, you know, EU to Korea ping. So I think he's still going to try something special, maybe like mass doom drops with liberators in the back, just go like crazy on multi-prong. He's going to have to do something to throw Nerchio off his game, I think.
Well, this map is certainly, I think, even in the best conditions, a little bit frustrating for Terran players playing macro on. The long distance. This actually reminds me a little bit of Apotheosis. Not nearly as abusable, but just it's tough to rally and fight against Zerg in that way.
Exactly. Like against Protoss, I think Terran players often actually enjoy this map because the bases are so spread out. They're so easy to drop. Yeah. You can abuse the immobility of Protoss, but Zerg creep between those bases, Lings running around. Zerg can get on top of those drops much easier. So it definitely is a situation where it's going to be very interesting to see how aLive tries to solve this puzzle. Of course, the Overlord speed did come in. He hasn't really seen everything, but I think just from seeing the Marine count and now seeing these medevacs, Nerchio has a pretty good idea of what's going on.
Well, as the medevacs push out, they're not fully loaded, but it's more than enough damage. And yeah, as you point out, between the Watchtower, between this crazy Overlord spread, there's no way he doesn't see this coming. As aLive comes back home with... Did something just break at your house? That sounded so loud.
Sorry, it's just some kitchen noise behind me. My bad.
Oh, okay. I thought someone like broke a plate or something, dude. That sounded terrible, but okay. Making sure you're safe, Pig. Your safety is important to me, man.
Thanks, man. The acoustics in my house are terrible, so literally any noise in my kitchen like bounces right over to my computer. But that's cool. It won't be too much noise. So anyway, aLive just gonna clear up some creep, just poking around. He is going for a third command center behind this, going for those double upgrades. So pretty typical macro follow-up here. Nerchio playing quite safe, just squeezing out those drones a few at a time while defending with this heavy Queen Zergling play. So both players really respecting each other and just macroing up for the moment.
I'm loving all the new people still filtering in, asking about the Frankenstein at the bottom. For some reason, the bug is, guys, that the BattleNet names are not displaying the same as their player names. There's nothing we can do about that, unfortunately. I could maybe whip something up in Photoshop if we knew this would happen ahead of time, but we don't. It just kind of happens randomly, so... Ooh, it is what it is. By the way, thank you to all the subs and resubs. We'll give you guys proper shoutouts in a moment, but right now we have the cusp of a battle ahead. Queens aren't on creep, but there's a lot of them to focus on these medevacs. Nerchio goes for this round with the Lings. Marines are picked up immediately and has to give up this position. I think one of the concerns with this too is like at this point you're usually, if not trading out for drones or sniping a queen like he did on Echo, you know, you're picking off the creep tumors, but not even able to do that. Like, this has been a very unfortunately passive game out of aLive, and not for lack of trying.
Yeah, I mean, lately a lot of the time we've seen people go like single eBay, keep building medevacs, keep building Marines, and like reinforcing the front, right? And then suddenly there's 3 medevacs of Marines, and suddenly there's 4 medevacs of Marines, and sometimes it spirals out of control. And I feel like this is a game where that might have worked, because Nerchio really, even now at 7 minutes, he's only just added a few Banelings. He's still only got about 30 Zerglings. And those initial 4 queens. So Nerchio has actually gotten away with being a little bit greedy here, and it makes sense. He was on top of it. He was scouting well behind the push. He saw the 3rd command center. So Nerchio's just reacted really well to his scouting information, and because of that, his economy is just unimpeded.
The Sport Crawler is, of course, building right under the Liberator, so it won't be staying here too long. K2K Star just donated $5. It says, "Really, Pig? That's how you feel? Replay packs?" I respect that. Time to do my part. Heart-based trade. And then, hey, follows it up with an immediate sub, so thank you, K2K Star. Ultimate good guy status. Hill Butch as well for the new resub, or the new sub hype. And then the Bert338 for the 23-month resub says, "I keep subscribing for the content you make, not for the replays. Keep it up." I'm glad you like our content, and that we're not just selling replays. Thank you very much. Although I will say, some of you guys have replays from like Innovation that even other Korean pros don't have, so don't undervalue those replays. Queen pulls away, Sport Crawler burrows. This Liberator gets a few more kills than it should have.
That Liberator did a good job of just keeping Nerchio busy, poking around, aLive staying relatively close in supply, despite Nerchio having such a good income. 2-2 is pretty closely lined up for both players.
I don't think this is so surprising. I think supply counts, Terran and Zerg, if they're both macroing, are going to be kind of similar until you hit that 1 point after a couple of trades. But the fact that aLive, 6 health. I was going to bring this up, and then he almost screwed me over in saying it. He's done a great job not losing anything to the front lines. Like, Nerchio's economy is rocking and rolling, but aLive hasn't really lost any units this game. And of course, as I'm saying that, he almost loses a medevac full of Marines, so, you know, whatever, but that's beside the point. Nerchio's also zooming away to a hive behind this, so while I didn't expect him to, like, rush out to, like, Ultralisks, and what is possibly even Broodlords with that Spire, I mean, he's kind of just soaring away and getting away with everything.
Yeah, this is really interesting. aLive is even going for a 4th base. Not really focusing on trying to finish this early. No doubt going to go for 3-3 pretty quickly as well. And aLive has done a great job of posturing on both sides of the map. However, Nerchio here, he's really just focused on defending the left-hand side, and he's kept the right-hand gold base open more as an option if he has to get in a messy position and sacrifice the left-hand side of the map. So Nerchio has done a fantastic job. He is now transitioning workers out of his main down to that gold, and his creep is steadily crawling across the map. aLive has temporarily given up a bit of map control, but now 2-2's done. He wants to start pushing back that creep. He's got a second starport on the way. He's got the Widowmine drilling claws on the way, and really just a huge Marine Widowmine army starting to press on out. He's up about 12 army supply right now, and it really is just, let's try and put on some pressure before Zerg gets out Ultras and Broodlords, because that's when things get a lot more complicated for Terran.
Thank you, Haru SOS. I have not listened to that clip, but I have a pretty good idea of what was clipped. I gotta say, though, this is a really awkward timing for aLive. Once he gets in here with the Marines and the Widowmines, like, yeah, he might get surrounded. Uh-oh, well, he will get surrounded. This is actually kind of scary. A lot of Banelings pop off, but most of the Marines live. The awkwardness comes from the fact that he's constantly driven back. He's constantly denied the attacks, which deny his scouting, and in turn has no idea about the lair, much less even the hive, much less that Ultralisk cavern. So he's still producing Marines. There's a couple of Marauders in production now, but none of this army is really the greatest against what Nerchio is doing.
Keep in mind, Ultralisks are a lot weaker now against Marine Marauder, so, you know, aLive will be able to face that with just mostly bio decently, but the Broodlords are definitely the big problem right now, and he's actually going up to 10 barracks. Wow, aLive is preparing for an epic macro game right now.
There's also a lot of SimCity created around his third, which is funny through this, but also possible weakness. We'll find out. The Broodlord approach to this is actually something we've been seeing players like Snoot and others do instead of the rush to Ultras. It can work pretty well, but yeah, those Ultras coming out are skinned, so I guess those are going to look funny in the production tab too. Thanks a lot, StarCraft, for the... There's like no reason for these to be bugged like this. Anyways, Ultras, okay, you're right. They're slightly weaker, and in terms of what that means, guys, they have 1 less armor when fully maxed out on upgrades. That being said, they can still take a lot of hits. They can survive the damage that allows the Lings and the Banelings to run by. The same problems that present themselves before with Ultras present themselves now, where like they need support.
Oh my god, look at this spread from Nerchio coming in from the right-hand side with a huge amount of Ultra Ling Bane. Wants to wrap around this army. aLive is trying to back on out.
Oh, I like this in City.
Turrets. Yeah, very nice defense from aLive.
Small drop when this goes on.
Yeah.
This, though, sets up a real line in the sand for aLive. It's going to be difficult for Nerchio to push through this. Like, the turrets will help keep some of the air at bay. Okay, sure. But the Broodlords aren't going to care about that. The Ultralisks are going to get screwed by some of the SimCity. Okay, but still, again, it comes down to the Broodlords aren't going to care about that. My concern is aLive has so much to deal with the ground. He's seen the Corruptors. I don't think he realizes that they're going to be Broodlords, though.
Yeah, I mean, with 2 reactive starports, you can get Vikings out reasonably quickly.
Oh,
good trade here for aLive, man.
Those Widowmines at the very end took out all the Lings and the Banelings. The Liberators helping too here and there, but Nerchio had momentum that just suddenly disappeared. It just evaporated.
It's interesting now because the game gets to a much more engagement-focused portion of StarCraft. I do like aLive sneaking these Liberators down the left-hand side, but Nerchio is on top of it. Spore Crawl is well positioned. Corruptors are going to get on top of it. And he's going for Broodlords now. What does worry me for Nerchio is his drone count is so high, especially if aLive could maybe sacrifice a few SCVs or something like that. I feel like his army supply is so much bigger. If he can get out a good little chunk of Vikings with his army, I think he might be able to just kind of stim, spread, and overwhelm Nerchio, even though he doesn't really have the perfect answer to the Broodlords.
Nerchio can't take this fight just yet. He knows the positioning was going to favor the Liberators. I got to give a massive thank you to Huber Bauer. Just generously threw in $50 to say, thanks for all the great work all the years from Munich. Dude, that is some insane generosity. Thank you so very much.
And what an epic match for us all to be watching right now. Looks like Nerchio going to be heading into lots of Broodlords, going up to 6 Broodlords, adding Flyer Carapace upgrades. He's still only on single Spire right now, adding a lot of Overseers to make sure he has detection against the Widow Mines in here. He's only got 2 Infestors, but those 2 Fungals could be completely game-ending. Interestingly, he hasn't burrowed those Infestors. I think Nerchio is just used to playing with the old ones. Oh, he's going to go in, but massive Widow Mine shot just kills about 40 Banelings there. Once again, aLive's positioning is so good. And look at the units lost tab. He's edging further and further ahead in that.
I'm really curious about this Ghost Academy coming down. Snipes are going to be a really cool answer. We haven't actually seen anyone use them in so very long. I like Snipes, though. When Beyond was using Ghosts for Snipes for these late game Zerg engagements, it was like the most fantastic looking Terrans ever looked.
Oh, yeah. Of course, the problem Terran players always have is securing these extra bases once you get into such an expensive army. So getting that snipe on the 5th base, I think Nerchio is really happy with that. He's up on 6 bases himself right now. His economy is healthy. If you look at the mineral
Burrow
income,
Infestors.
actually,
Big fungal growth lands on both chunks of the army. This is going to be terrible. The Banelings crash on in. The Liberators might clean up a lot of this. This second part of the army barely manages to back away. It stims for its life away from the Banelings. The Planetary survives, and this actually ends up going pretty good for aLive, all things considered.
Wow, Nerchio just crashes on through. Those 2 Infestors completely change this game.
Yeah.
And that fragility of the Terran army, that really is its problem in late game, where if you make one mistake like that, if your opponent sneaks up on you, things can fall apart pretty fast. Nerchio pulls back the weak Broodlord. Fantastic micro. Keeps it alive.
Nerchio is going to make this a ZvT Finals. I was like, get rid of Frankenstein.
Nice.
That, though, at the end was so harrowing, I think, on both sides of it. There's the chance that like maybe the Widow Mines took out too much and Nerchio suddenly is over dedicated. On the other side, though, like, man, aLive just I love the idea of the Ghost, but they got Broodling, they got Fungal. The 2 Burrowed Infestors, though, like, I just really want to stress that type of fight never would have been possible without the change to the Burrow cast. There's no way you unburrow those and cast before they get sniped off or picked off or seen from like a million miles away. So very, very nicely done out of Nerchio.
Yeah, you know, he kind of caught aLive's army on the right-hand side of the map, got the 5th base. He also wiped out the sensor tower and all of those turrets, and that was what gave him the ability to burrow those Infestors in and get that Fungal. Also, a small mistake from aLive there in the midst of that crazy macro game. He only had about 8 SCVs mining on his 4th base. He had a lot of SCVs stacked up on mined out mineral patches in the main and natural. So a little bit sloppy there from him. But hey, can you blame him? There was so much going on in that game. You know, you've got to be so careful. Unfortunately, in the end, the one slip up does cost it for him. Nerchio just played so well though. And Nerchio versus Snoot, this is such a sick match. These guys have played so many times before. I'm gonna go check their Aligulac history because, well, if I remember correctly, it's very even.
While you do that, Pig, we're gonna get the commercial break out of the way so we don't have to have people wait too long for this best of 5 finals. So 2 minutes of ads, guys, and we'll be back with the grand finals. Best of 5 ZvZ Snoot versus Nerchio when we return.